Now at 9, funeral services are announced for 2 Joplin police officers killed in the line of duty. We'll also hear how the JPD is making sure their legacies won't be forgotten.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin police escorted the body of fallen Joplin Police Corporal Ben Cooper to Springfield as area first responders looked on in tribute. Corporal Cooper was killed Tuesday in the line of duty. An official autopsy was performed today in Springfield. Local police and fire departments flanked the convoy as Corporal Cooper passed through the Joplin area. Among them, Joplin, Webb City, Dunaway, Carthage, Sarcoxie, and later in Lawrence County, the escort passed by Monette Fire and the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. Mason Woodward Mortuary in Joplin published an official obituary for Corporal Cooper and announced funeral plans. Visitation is scheduled for 4 p.m. on Monday at the Leggett and Platt Athletic Center at MSSU. The funeral will be at 1 on Tuesday at the same location. Cooper was born in Tulsa in 1975. He graduated from Carl Junction High School in 1993. He served in the U.S. Army for 8 years, then became a member of the Joplin Police Department. Later, he worked for the Montezuma County, Colorado Sheriff before moving back to Joplin. Corporal Cooper was 46. Funeral services were also announced for Officer Jake Reed. Those services will also be at MSSU. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be Friday at 1. Officer Reed was 27. The Joplin Police Department announced it will retire the radio numbers of Corporal Cooper and Officer Reed in the coming days. Officials say an officer's radio number becomes a part of their identity and adds another piece to the brotherhood of law enforcement. Corporal Cooper's radio number was 222. Officer Reed's number was 270. Officer Rick Hershey was shot in another encounter with the suspect after a chase. At last report, Hershey was in serious but stable condition, recovering from a gunshot to the face. The police chief said Hershey will likely face numerous surgeries and a long recovery. Rick Hershey was shot. Nick Kelly joins us now with a first look at the weather.
And as advertised, Al, we did see our band of light to sometimes moderate snow work on through earlier today, but like we also expected, 1 to 3 inches, a minor nuisance of a storm system. But now the main roads look okay from 7th and Rangeline. As far as the temperatures go, we went from 21 this morning, and at least we topped out at 33 this afternoon. That and the angle of the sun helped to allow the snow to really melt off. And now we're just starting to get the backside of the storm system to clear out. So any slight chance of a flurry or two we had to start the evening out is pretty much done. But clearing skies overnight will also drop back into single digits and maybe as warm, if you want to call it that, as 12 degrees. Fortunately, Dow, nothing but sunshine tomorrow and a light breeze. That'll get us back near 40, so the melt will continue tomorrow. We'll break down the rest of the forecast here in a bit.
See you soon. The snow we got overnight left area roads slick in many cases. Throughout the day, the roads have mostly cleared. This is video from Joplin. Officials want people to remember, even if the roads look safe, there could still be slick spots, so please be careful. In southeast Kansas, road conditions have improved greatly. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with a KDOT official who explains what to look out for now that the snow has cleared.
We've been pretty much out. We've been out since overnight clearing, and we're still out there.
KDOT crews have been working to keep Kansas drivers safe, one road at a time. And with many area schools releasing students early for spring break, more people are expected to be out. So KDOT also has some advice.
If you don't need to travel, we tell people, I know people have places to go and it's spring break some places, and I know some of the schools have let out for spring break. So, if you can delay your trip for a few hours until we get things back to more normal again, that would be helpful.
Many area roads have gotten back to normal, but some plow drivers could still be out. So give them room to do what they need to do.
But they're mostly getting back to just be careful. People just need to be careful out there. The plows are out, and let us work and let us clear the highways.
The real concern, freezing temperatures overnight could lead to slick roads.
With the snow and freezing precipitation, with driving on it, you can create slush. And then, of course, with the temperatures warming up during the day and then refreezing at night, you can have these icy patches left. So yeah, you just want to be very careful. Snow or ice, it's all can be very slick.
If everyone does their part to let road crews do their jobs, the faster the roads can be driven on safely.
We just really appreciate the cooperation of the traveling public in helping us get the roads cleared.
In Southeast Kansas, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
So again, tonight and into the morning, we might have some slick spots, so if you need to be on the roads, take it slow and leave space for other drivers. The Joplin Airport is losing an air service provider, but not before it's replaced. SkyWest Airlines notified the U.S. Department of Transportation it plans to end United Express service at 29 regional airports, including Joplin. However, the Department of Transportation issued a hold-in order on the service, meaning it cannot be terminated until a replacement airline is chosen and begins operations. SkyWest is expected to maintain its current schedule until then. They say the service is ending because of a pilot shortage. Price for a gallon of gas continues to skyrocket, and some people are now taking drastic and illegal actions to fill up their gas tank. Fox News national correspondent William Lajeunesse has more from Los Angeles.
The pain at the pump continues for millions of Americans. The national average for the price of gas increased to $4.33 a gallon, more than $1 from just a month ago. Here in California, regular unleaded is going for an average of $5.72 a gallon, highest in the country. As a result, consumers are altering their driving habits. A AAA survey finds 75% of Americans will drive less if gas prices top $5 in their state.
It's certainly a tipping point for Americans in how they will adjust their driving behaviors to compensate for the expensive gas.
Gasoline theft is also on the rise in Houston. Police say a group of thieves used a small rubber object to manipulate the pump at one station. In Los Angeles, police were called after two men allegedly broke a pump and began stealing diesel. Those men are also accused of siphoning $4,000 worth of gas from other locations.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a sign of the times. And, thieves are looking for crimes of opportunity. And this is just the latest one that they're looking at doing, is actually targeting parked vehicles and stealing gasoline from the tanks of the vehicles.
As this trend continues, officials say you should protect your car's gas tank.
Yeah, well, make sure that you park your vehicle in your garage if you have a garage. If not, try to have some surveillance cameras, security lights.
AAA says the national average price for a gallon of gas has not been this high since the financial crisis of 2008. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
President Biden hit the road today, traveling to Philadelphia for a couple of events focused on domestic priorities. With the war in Ukraine escalating by the day, the administration has placed a laser focus on response efforts. Today's visit to Philadelphia gave the president a chance to tout some of his top agenda items stalled in Congress. Fox's Madeline Rivera is in Washington with a closer look.
President Biden arriving in Philadelphia Friday afternoon to deliver remarks at a Democratic Party retreat.
We know the fundamental change that shifts if we lose the House and Senate. The only thing I'll have then is a veto pen.
The president pivoting his focus from the war in Ukraine to some of his administration's domestic priorities as he tries to unite the party ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. In his remarks, the president touted the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure law passed last year.
Well, I think we're in a strong position. We have a record to be proud of. An agenda will lower costs for American families and lift this nation up.
Democrats are facing significant headwinds. Inflation up nearly 8%, a 40-year high, could cost them their majorities in the House and the Senate.
We've got a long way to go, though. I'm not saying we're over, we're just getting going.
Republicans argue last year's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package is in large part to blame for higher prices. They're also calling on the president to boost domestic energy production to help bring down the cost of gas.
The Democratic Party's got to revamp. I don't think they can.
A Real Clear Politics average of recent polls shows Republicans with a slight edge over Democrats in Congress, with midterm elections just 8 months away. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Charles Turner served in the U.S. Navy from 1954 to 57. The Columbus, Kansas native was stationed in Japan and Korea. And we are proud to thank 3rd Class Petty Officer Charles Turner, tonight's 4th State hero. Nick is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Division II Indoor Track and Field National Championships begin in Pittsburgh. We'll have details in sports.
Well, the day might have started out a bit tricky with our band of light to sometimes moderate snow passing through. On the other hand, though, it was a nuisance system after all, so it's not going to be a big system by any means, but on the average, most of us picking up 1 to 2 inches of snow, a couple spots with some higher amounts, maybe no more than 3 inches of snow. But once we got into the afternoon, you saw how that good band of light to moderate snow was pretty quick to move on out. You could argue maybe a few rattling little snow flurries to get the evening underway under persistent, mostly cloudy skies, but the back edge of the system's clearing out. So not only are we dry on the radar network overall, and for the rest of the weekend, we are going to see the mostly clear skies that we have in place now stick with us for the rest of the weekend. So the rest of the weekend is going to be looking pretty good for us, and it will certainly help us out with temperatures. We went from the 40s yesterday afternoon to lower 20s this morning, and despite all the snow and the cloud cover, we did see highs push back into the lower to middle 30s around Joplin, maybe some upper 30s for some of you in our far western counties. But everybody's cold no matter how you slice it and dice it, but at least the roads look okay, at least the first glimpse. From 7th and Range Line, 26 in Joplin to west breeze at 8, making it feel like 18, so at least a minor bite to the air if you're going to be out and about this evening. Temperatures across the rest of the region were mainly in the 20s, mid-20s for the most part, and you factor in that lighter breeze, it does feel like the upper teens to lower 20s across much of the region. But we're pretty much done with the storm system. We're finally getting the back edge of the stubborn cloud cover out of here. So the big picture, at the surface, a cold front, a weak cold front, but passing through into tomorrow, that just makes sure that we stay cold, but we're going to be back above freezing tomorrow with plenty of sunshine. That's certainly good. And the changing upper level setup will be good as well. We got this upper level wave pretty much past the region now, so we're just waiting for the jet stream to work back in our direction. That's going to really help temperatures boost on up, especially by the time Sunday rolls around. In the short term, though, what can you say? We keep things pretty quiet, a stark difference compared to how we started this morning out with. But underneath these mostly clear skies, it's going to be quite cold with upper single digits to lower teens across much of the region. I see Joplin starting out at 12 in the morning. But as long as that breeze for tomorrow stays light, turning out of the west at noon and southwest in the afternoon, mostly sunny skies will take us to 33 in Joplin by the noon hour, highs near 40. In fact, everybody should be in the upper 30s to lower 40s tomorrow. So the melt will definitely continue as we go into the day tomorrow. The jet stream setup has the jet back on top of us by Sunday. That'll push highs back near 60 with continued mostly sunny skies. Next system in Doug's pattern wants to bring in some rain showers late Monday and some thunderstorms into Tuesday as well. But in the middle of the week, Wednesday looks dry. Then another system that could give us a few showers late on St. Patrick's Day, and then some departing rain chances by the time Friday rolls around. So fortunately, with those storm systems on the way, no cold air to work with, so we'll just deal with rain and storms as they come on by. But at least we're dry for the rest of the weekend now. Back to 40 tomorrow. The melt will continue. And all this should be a long distant memory with highs pushing near 60 on Sunday.
Yeah, and springing forward, it is going to feel like spring.
It's going to feel good.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up, pressuring Russia's economy even more.
The U.S. and its allies make another move to impact Russia's economy. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Poland. I'll have the latest from the region coming up.
President Biden today announced new actions to target Russia's economy. Russian forces continue to expand their military offensive as they target western Ukraine. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has more.
Putin's war against Ukraine will never be a victory.
The U.S. and its allies are taking steps to deny Russia its most favored nation trading status. The move would put an end to normal trade relations and pave the way for higher tariffs. President Biden also announcing Friday a ban on Russian imports of things like seafood, vodka, and diamonds, as well as plans to target more Russian oligarchs.
We're increasing coordination among the G7 countries to target and capture their ill-begotten gains.
The tightened economic sanctions comes as Russia ramps up its attacks across Ukraine, striking airfields in the west and a major city further east. A convoy that was stalled for more than a week outside Kyiv is on the move again and spreading out near the capital.
Some of the tanks have dispersed and they're maneuvering in place, reportedly as close as a few miles away from the city center. to launch a strike.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying Friday his country has reached a strategic turning point.
It's impossible to say how many days we will still need to free our land, but it's possible to say that we will do it.
All this as millions continue to flee to neighboring countries. More than 1.5 million have come here to Poland.
I have only one desire, that I want everything to finish as soon as possible, and to live in peace.
Ukrainian authorities are working to establish a dozen humanitarian corridors to help move people safely across the country. In Poland, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Still ahead, the story of a shelter dog that no one seemed to want and how that dog ended up being a canine officer. The age-old saying, every dog has its day, is proving true. And one lucky dog is getting more than just a day. She's getting her own Netflix movie. Fox News' Gary Baumgarten has more on the heartfelt tale of Ruby, the rescue dog who wound up rescuing a life.
Say hello to Ruby, a rambunctious pup with a remarkable story, one that saw her go from an unwanted shelter dog to a life-saving canine officer.
She was deemed unadoptable. She would go home and either destroy their house, try to nip at them.
Ruby was returned to the Rhode Island SPCA shelter 5 times, but volunteer Patricia Inman never lost hope she would find the perfect home, even as concerns grew that Ruby would have to be put down. Those fears disappeared when State Trooper Daniel O'Neill came searching for a dog to turn into a canine officer and saw potential in Ruby. Years after completing her training, Ruby's canine skills were put to the test.
There was a young boy that had been missing for 36 hours. Ruby ended up going off by herself and searching an area. And when I went to chase after her, I came around the corner, and all of a sudden there was a young boy laying on the ground.
And in a dramatic twist of fate, the boy whose life Ruby helped save was the son of Patricia Inman, the shelter worker who fought to keep her from being euthanized.
It's just, mind-blowing.
Now Ruby's heartfelt tale is getting a Hollywood makeover, with Netflix adapting it into a movie.
You think he could be a canine dog?
She could be anything.
The flick, Rescued by Ruby, premieres on Netflix March 17th. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Next, how the Hidden Valley Ranch Company is getting into the diamond business. Hidden Valley Ranch is getting into the diamond industry. The ranch dressing company is creating the Ranch Diamond. Yeah, it's a 2-carat round brilliant cut diamond that includes heated Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning. The output was crushed and then polished. The diamond is then set in 14-karat white gold band. That whole process takes about 5 months. From now until March 17th, people can bid on the diamond on the ranchdiamond.com. The winner will receive the Ranch Diamond just in time for National Proposal Day on March 20th, because that's romantic. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How workers at a horse therapy organization are trying to help first responders who are hurt after the tragedy in Joplin. Plus, we're learning more about a growing threat of Russian cyber attacks. Officials detail ransomware assaults that have already happened. A lot of people find therapy with riding horses. Well, workers at an equine therapy organization know a lot of emergency responders are hurting right now, so they're offering any emergency service worker free equine therapy. Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts is located in Goodman, Missouri. Some workers there say they have relatives who worked as emergency personnel.
I want them to hear that having PTSD or emotional trauma from an event is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, because you had the heart to go and do what many cannot and most will not.
Trinity Circle Horses Healing Hearts is located on Sorrel Road in Goodman. The Tarzan Zerbini Circus is ready to go in Joplin, but they're playing it safe tonight and they canceled tonight's show. Tomorrow, they're going to have several shows. Their iconic tent is at the old Atwoods location on South Madison Street in Webb City.
We have to make that very clear. So they're like our kids. With the temperatures like this, that is a big part of why we're not going to be on tonight. The animals don't need to be here that long. They go back to our winter quarter right here in Joplin, and they're in a heated building.
The circus will get underway again tomorrow and Sunday, then again next Thursday through Sunday. U.S. regulators removed some key restrictions for fully autonomous vehicles, possibly speeding more of them into the marketplace. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says fully autonomous vehicles now don't have to have manual controls to meet crash standards. Now, previous regulations required a steering wheel, a steering column, a driver's seat, and a front outboard passenger seat. The NHTSA now says such regulations aren't logically necessary in vehicles with an automated driving system. Other human safety regulations for those vehicles will remain intact. Inflation is forcing some restaurants to charge customers more. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis is at the Bit restaurant in Dobbs Ferry, New York, with more.
If you've been to a restaurant lately, you've no doubt seen higher prices. In fact, nationally, the price of just going out to a restaurant for dinner is up 7.5% year over year. Here at the Bit in Dobbs Ferry, New York, this restaurant has increased prices 15%, and they've even taken really expensive stuff off the menu like steaks and ribs. Scott Broccoli is the owner of this establishment, and he joins me now. Scott, tell me about the prices that have gone up. How much are they up, and how are you coping?
Doing the best we can what we got. To your point, we've had to take some things off the menu, but some of the staples are still here. Even though beef is up 11%, a burger is still a little less expensive. We've seen bacon go up 18%. Thankfully, chicken has always been a little less expensive. Even though it's up 11%, we still use a lot of chicken because that's the best we can do with prices.
Yeah, and you had mentioned you're serving more pasta, obviously.
Yes.
That's another way of coping. But can you really raise prices enough to accommodate the rise that you're paying coming in the front door here?
No. We're operating at a break even at this point, and that's just hopeful. We don't want to alienate our customers. We're a neighborhood joint. We want to make sure that it's still possible for them to come out and enjoy themselves.
Well, I'm sure it is, Scott. Thank you. And I just want to show you one other higher price that we have here. Fuel surcharges, energy prices, of course, on fire. He's paying an additional $250 a month in fuel surcharges. In New York, Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
Americans are taking to Google to question a return to the office. Google says U.S. search interest in, quote, return to office reached a record high this month, along with searches for business casual outfits and casual work outfits. Search interest in remote work reached a record high in January after 2 years of working from home amid the pandemic. The top questions Americans are searching include: why do companies want to return to office? Is it safe to return to the office? And how to refuse return to office? How to style joggers for work was a top search over the last week for folks not ready to give up those comfy clothes. We're learning new information about the growing threat of cyber attacks from Russia against the U.S. As Fox News correspondent Jillian Turner tells us, there have already been dozens of ransomware assaults in critical infrastructure areas.
Moscow presents a serious cyber threat.
U.S. intelligence officials are on high alert to the escalating threat from Russian government hackers as Putin continues waging war on Ukraine.
We're only 15 days in, and so much can still occur.
But now sources tell Fox News Russian ransomware has already been identified in U.S. systems dozens of times since the start of Putin's war 2 weeks ago. Ransomware has been tracked in U.S. critical infrastructure, including the manufacturing, energy, finance, and government sectors.
This idea of malware spreading is one scenario that we look at, but there are 3 other scenarios that also come into our thinking. One might be the use of ransomware. The next would be a scenario of proxies, those that necessarily may not be part of the Russian government but are functioning as a proxy or as a non-nation state actor. And the final one is this idea of a disruptive or destructive attack.
It's all part of a multi-phase Russian plan to debilitate the U.S. energy sector.
John McCain, our former colleague, used to say that Russia was a gas station masquerading as a country.
Phase 1 kicked off before Putin's invasion even began, when 21 U.S. energy companies were targeted, including giants Chevron and Cheniere. Then, Russian intelligence launched so-called spear phishing attacks on an unnamed American pharmaceutical company. Today on Capitol Hill, lawmakers flagged concerns about Russia's infiltration of everyday Americans' communications.
The technology known as SS7, which allows phones to roam from one network to another, could also allow foreign actors to get into our networks and intercept Americans' calls and texts.
BNP Paribas, France's largest bank, has put its staff on high alert for Russian cyber attacks. They've also taken the unprecedented step today of disconnecting their entire Russia-based team from the company's internal computer network in order to protect it. In Washington, Jillian Turner, Fox News.
A senior official in the Biden administration says North Korea is developing a new long-range missile system. The official says tests were carried out this month and last month. World leaders first found out about the system during North Korea's Workers' Party parade in October of 2020. The Biden administration has confirmed the North recently conducted 2 tests for a relatively new intercontinental ballistic missile system. North Korea's actions are ratcheting up tensions between leader Kim Jong-un and the United States at a particularly precarious time in world politics. Global leaders, of course, are monitoring Russia's war with Ukraine. A bit later, more confusion about mask mandates.
The TSA says now is not the right time to take your mask off in public transportation, but next month might be a different story. I'm Alexandria Hopp in Washington, and I've got the details coming up.
Like we said, we had another shot of wintry weather, and hopefully this is the last one, but at least this was not a big system overall. All it did across the entire region was give the vast majority of us 1 to 2 inches of snow. In fact, Doug's part of Joplin picked up 2 inches of snow with this system that passed on through. A couple of spots might have picked up 3, but again, these were minor amounts. And even though the snow cleared out and we had a lot of cloud cover during the course of the day, the angle of the sun and temperatures back a little bit above freezing got to work quickly melting off what we picked up throughout the course of the day. So, well, as far as where we stand right now, mostly clear on the radar network, and this is going to stay quiet for the rest of the weekend until our next storm system with rain and storm chances this time around by the time Monday gets here. But looking back at where we've been temperature-wise over the past 36 hours, quite a bit cooler, if not colder, than the 40s that we saw on Thursday. We dropped back into the lower 20s this morning and then back at least into the mid-30s close to Joplin Regional today. But everybody's cold, but everyone's quiet, including downtown Joplin, sitting at 26 with west breeze at 8 and making it feel like 18 degrees. As far as where temperatures sit now, it is quite cold for sure. Lower 20s in our northern counties already. Everybody else trying to hold on to the mid-20s. But you factor in that light breeze, it makes it feel like the upper teens to about the mid-20s across much of the region. But on the plus side, we're done as the back edge of the clouds and the backside of the storm system is clearing out. The snow that we had to start today is well to the east now, working across the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Appalachian Mountains. At the surface, we just have one quick front that'll pass on through. It's not going to do a lot for us, mainly keep us cold, but still above freezing before tomorrow. And as far as the upper levels are concerned, this was the wave that I was watching, the wave that helped push the snow through this afternoon. It tried to bring a few flurries, but it's pretty much done with us now. And we'll just wait for the jet to build back in to really allow temperatures to warm back up as we go throughout the rest of the weekend. So nothing to worry about as far as any falling precip for the rest of the night, but with temperatures in the upper single digits to lower teens, if there are any roads out there that are still a bit on the wet side or maybe a few slushy spots, that could be a few patchy ice spots that we need to keep an eye on. But once we start the morning out around 12 in Joplin, mostly sunny skies and a light breeze will take us to 33 by noon and highs back near 40 for the afternoon. In fact, everybody will go into the upper 30s to lower 40s for our Saturday afternoon. So the melt will definitely continue, and certainly for Sunday. In fact, this setup will push highs near 60. So any hints of the snow that we got to start the weekend now should be long gone by the end of the weekend. Sticking with Doug's pattern though, I want to watch for a storm system with rain and storm chances Monday into Tuesday, looking quiet for Wednesday. Then we got another system that will work in for late St. Patrick's Day and into Friday. Now, what will that do with temperatures for the rest of the week? Well, we'll go from 40 tomorrow, still not too terrible, to 60 on Sunday, middle to upper 50s with the first wave on Monday and Tuesday. But before we see next weekend's system rolling down, we'll have highs pushing near 70 by Wednesday and Thursday.
It is going to officially feel like spring, for sure.
We just got to get past tonight and tomorrow.
Thanks, Nick. Coming up in sports, the Missouri Southern women hit the floor in the first round of the national tournament, plus a national championship for a Pitt State freshman pole vaulter. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, tonight is the night for the Missouri Southern women's basketball team. The Lions are in action in the NCCAA Division II National Tournament for the first time in 26 years this evening. Now, Southern faces St. Cloud State tonight to open the tournament. Brooke Stauffer, 3 for Southern. Lions were up 1 at half. Now, third quarter, Katrina Tice gets her own board and puts it back. Huskies rally to lead going to the fourth. Now Lions down 3 with under 30 seconds left. Amaya Johns, huge shot to tie it up. We go to overtime. In OT, Lacey Stokes doing what she does, 20 points, 8 assists, and 7 steals for Stokes, but St. Cloud State makes a couple free throws late, and Johns' last second shot doesn't go. Lions fall to the Huskies 69-67. At the high school level, the El Dorado Springs girls have a shot at a state championship today. The Bulldogs face South Shelby in the Class 3 championship game. They rolled from the start. Bulldogs claimed the state title 61-26. They finished the season with a 29-3 overall record. The Ozark Christian College women are still alive for a national championship. The Ambassadors are on the floor today with a chance to move on to the NCCAA national title game. They get to do it at home, facing Pensacola Christian in the national semifinals this afternoon in Joplin. A fast start for OCC. Darian Carr knocks down the 3. Ozark up 8. Pensacola Christian gets back in it. Lauren Alvarez knocks down a 3 of her own. Game is tied after 1. Cameron Gentry, huge in the first half, gets the bucket for 2 there. 15 points, 14 rebounds for Gentry. Now in the third, Mackenzie Purinton straight to the basket. She leads the team with 17 points. Later, Pensacola Christian starts to pull away. Alvarez, big 3 to put her team up 10. But Ozark fighting to stay alive. College Heights product, Emmy Collin. Tough shot there, but OCC can't complete the comeback. They fall 89-72. This weekend is the final weekend of the Division II indoor track and field season. The D2 National Championships begin today in Pittsburgh. Now here's some day 1 action from both Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern. Men's weight throw, Missouri Southern gets a pair of All-Americans. Josh Fulmer takes 6th, throwing 66 feet, 2.25 inches. His teammate Peyton Barton, 1 spot ahead to take 5th, 66 feet, 10.75 inches for Barton on his final toss of the day. Pittsburgh State freshman Kyla Davis in the pole vault clears 13 feet, 7.25 inches on her first attempt. And that was enough. The freshman claims the pole vault national title for Pittsburgh State. A men's heptathlon in the high jump competition, Pitt State's Hunter Jones takes 2nd. He sits in 6th in the heptathlon heading into day 2. Trey Mooney, though, another gorilla, ranked number 1 in the heptathlon coming in, finishes day 1 in 2nd place with 3,261 points. He's in a good spot to compete for the heptathlon national title in the final 3 events tomorrow.
I feel really good. That point total that I have going on is a pretty good score for day 1, and then day 2, I got some good events that I'm gonna do and put up some big points. So I feel confident. I'm right where I wanted to be, and multi never goes as planned. So pretty proud of my point total right now.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Strong reaction is still pouring in after the TSA announced another month of mask mandates on public transportation. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has more from Washington.
The debate over mask mandates is heating up once again. The TSA following CDC recommendations to extend the mandate for public transportation for another month. That means folks taking planes, trains, buses, and taxis will have to mask up until at least April 18th.
As long as people are still contracting COVID, I think it's still needed. So I agree with it.
But the CDC also says it's looking for ways to relax those rules, especially in areas where the risk of COVID infection is low. As of this week, more than 90% of the country lives in those areas, where some travelers say the month-long extension is not needed. And it's unwelcome news to folks who are simply burned out after 2 years of lockdowns and mandates.
It's dangerous, but I'm tired of the masks. And if everybody's inoculated, I really don't see the necessity anymore.
The announcement comes as cases keep falling nationwide. We're now averaging just 36,000 new infections every day in the U.S., the lowest number since late July. And more cities and states are lifting COVID restrictions, including Seattle, where officials say kids will be able to take off their masks in school starting Monday. But federal officials are urging the public to be careful, and some say more funding is needed to help avoid another COVID surge.
The truth is, a lot of folks never got back on their feet. A whole lot of young people saw their futures dimmed, diminished.
Earlier this week, 13 Democratic governors asked the Biden administration to extend the federal public health emergency for at least another 3 months. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Going to check out the trailer to the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul. Hollywood Nation coming your way. The CMT Music Awards reveals this year's hosts. Pete Davidson scores his own show and more. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has the latest from the Hollywood Nation.
You're the guy, right? What guy's that?
Jimmy McGill transforms, Davidson headlines, and stars celebrate country music in the Hollywood Nation.
Half of my high school fell in love with
Kelsey Ballerini will take center stage at the upcoming CMT Awards. The country singer is returning to host the fan-voted award show for a second year in a row. She'll share hosting duties with Captain America star Anthony Mackie, who made an appearance last year as a presenter. The ceremony airs live from Nashville, April 11th. Pete Davidson has a new project in the works. According to Deadline, the SNL star will play a fictionalized version of himself in a new comedy series inspired by his life. It's tentatively called Bupkis and is being compared to Curb Your Enthusiasm, only with an R-rated twist.
Hey! What are you doing here?
In today's first looks, Lana Condor and Cole Sprouse take a trip out of this world in the trailer to the sci-fi romantic comedy Moonshot. They play college students who board a space shuttle to Mars in hopes of finding their significant other.
The wicked flee when no man pursueth.
AMC dropped the official trailer to the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul. The 2-minute preview features Bob Odenkirk's character, Jimmy McGill, making a full transformation into the famous crooked lawyer. The Breaking Bad prequel series will air in 2 parts, with the first 7 episodes airing weekly starting April 18th.
No one knows what we're doing except for us.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Let's make it a great tomorrow.